And also, this is what pisses me off as well. What really annoys me, and we talked about it a little bit earlier on, is I cannot get my head around on social media why everybody wants you to have a PhD now.
Yes.
I don't get it. It's like, it's social media, right? I've actually created a social media platform so that people can't censor, but also so I can get rid of trolls. It's like, you can come on here and you can say whatever you want.
We'll have the link in the description
But I'm
on the release
I'm
video.
gonna delete you if you're not. But the thing about that police officer as well, like, again, that censorship idea, if you actually go further with that and you look at some of the modifications that they're looking in AI, because I've got a tech company, so that sounds really grand. I'm really poor, spent all my money on a free app.
To tell them that,
but yeah,
okay,
like, it's for the good of the human race. But basically, if you look at that, then you've got issues where they're talking about wanting to be able to know what you think before you think it. There's like this kind of idea that they're going to be synergizing with thought processes, and therefore in maybe 40, 50, 60 years, you will think something, and before you think it, they will come and get you, right? Now, I would be definitely in prison immediately. I set people on fire in my head. It's like a constant thing. If, like, I'm looking at you and smiling at you, but you've pissed me off, you're on fire.
Yeah.
They're going to be in my house dragging me away going, this woman is a pyromaniac. She wants to murder people, but I don't. It's just my way of stress relief is to imagine what could happen to you if I happen to be a serial killer.
If you were on fire.
If I happened to, be in a situation where you upset me and I had gasoline and a match and didn't have the boundaries I've got, that's what we do to cope. So you get into really murky territory when you start trying to get into people's thoughts.
As a parent, do you not have some of the darkest thoughts?
If anybody hurts my child.
Yeah, and not only that,
of course.
what if this happened to my child? What if that happened? It keeps you in a constant, especially when they're new, keeps you in this constant state of terror.
Yeah.
But if anyone looks at those thoughts, you're awfully fascinated with a child being hurt. It's like, no, I'm fucking terrified.
Trying to imagine 100 ways I'll bubble wrap them.
But all these things go through your mind constantly.
Yeah, it's just human nature.
We are coming close to thought policing.
Yeah.
We're coming dangerously close to you.
Well, Twitter does that.
Yes.
You have a thought and then people police it.
Yeah.
And also people are liars online. I found that quite surprising. I know that sounds really naive, but my Twitter family, and I call them my Twitter family, and I've got my Insta and my Facebook, my Twitter family, because I'm on there more than anything because it's short. Firstly, I get a lot of support from them before all this, as in it's always felt like a really supportive, loving climate, and I chat with them and I have fun with them when people struggle. I put out things so that people support each other, and I've always felt like, even though people talk about toxicity, I've never experienced it. And then boom, COVID, and it's been so shocking because there's the 77th Brigade. Didn't even know that was real. I had to look it up, found it out.
That's how Twitter's always been for me. I didn't know it was any different.
There are all these people who look like people, but actually, if you track them, you can see like 400 different people with the same comment. And I'm like, man, this is really toxic.
I got suspended 3 times in one day last week.
Did you? Was it the same you?
One of them for the dictionary definition. Yeah, it was actually my account as well. Dictionary definition of woman. Misgendering, but this other person had about 20 accounts, most of them male.
Right.
But Twitter went, oh, you've been a bad boy, fix that. But the rare time I've reported someone on there, they always come back to me going, just fucking walk it off, big boy. I'm like, fuck it, yeah.
I think people have to be really careful these days, though, because Twitter, obviously, when it comes down to like transphobia and all of those areas, and particularly when it comes down to the thing about woman, because woman is different to female.
Yeah, but they're not that careful when it comes to people threatening to kill women. So
again,
apparently that's okay.
Totally inappropriate.
Twitter though is in the thrall, like most of Silicon Valley.
Mark Zuckerberg wants to Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want you to be able to have an opinion anymore. Mark wants you to be fed opinion.
Mark is going to be the internet.
Mark looks like an alien.
He's very, very strange.
Do you not just think like Mark's
He's very unusual.
I often look at Bill and I think Bill and his wife Melinda, and they look like they've got a 1980s Grattan catalogue and ordered anything beige and blue.
Oh, yes.
And I think that if you were an alien, you would definitely dress that way. You're just like a breath away from being Amish.
But can you imagine?
But Amish people are really nice, and they've got it right. Can I just say that?
Technology.
Have you ever sat there and thought, those people, they've seen something, and like they have got it so right. They're self-sustainable. They make a fortune selling their goods. They seem really quite content.
But then again, when any of them do go off reservation, they really go off reservation.
Well, you would. If you're going to leave,
can you
you're going to do
imagine
it big.
an evening with Mark Zuckerberg? Could you ever imagine being more uncomfortable? Someone, I forgot who it
spent
was.
quite a lot of it angry with him.
Well, someone went to his house and he fed them meat that he'd killed himself or something.
Mark's really... So the other thing that people aren't aware about is a lot of people like Gates are investing in fake meat. So if you'll notice the commercialization of veganism, so I'm like somebody who doesn't kill in my family. I mean... Not human. I mean, only humans.
Only the long pig.
Only the adults. I don't kill animals. So we obviously have noticed that since my eldest son's become vegan, he was just veggie, but he's vegan now. Honestly, when I was a vegan as a kid, I lived on chips. That was it. Chips, maybe like some like muesli. Very unhealthy stuff because that was all I could get. And I was poor.
Everything.
Chocolate, you can get, because they put all the money, and you have to ask yourself that question, don't you? Why have they put the money into fake meat? And it's clearly because they're highly into the idea of global warming, and they're highly into the idea of protecting the environment. Now, also ask yourself, well, what does that mean? If Gates and all of that lot, I'm not talking about anything to do with conspiracy, I'm talking about money.
Yeah.
If they are investing all their money in trying to reduce your meat intake, that must mean that they're highly involved in the idea of global warming.
Yeah.
And that means they must wish to keep you away from nature. And they also need to be very concerned about population.
And why not make a lot of money out of it?